Okay, so here we are. Today is, what's today's date? It's August 23rd, 2020. And we are pulling the trigger tonight. I have not been good at all with vlogging our
journey.
Our journey through IVF. It's been difficult this time around because last time we were super confident that everything was going to work and it was going to be easy peasy, one and done. And you know what? That's just not the case. Justin and I have both been extremely quiet in terms of telling people that we're doing IVF the second time around. We just haven't been as public about it. Not to say, like, if people have reached out, I've been honest. But I have to say, the first time we did IVF, we were under the impression that because our issue was, like, purely mechanical, we thought there was going to be no issue, like, good to go. And, I ended up like overstimulating. My stomach was like out to here. I gained like 20 pounds. I was really sick. I was throwing up. This time around, like, I don't know if you can see, like my stomach is like bloated, but it's not like the way it was last time. It was really bad. This whole journey, this whole journey the second time has been completely different. All right, where's the alcohol pack right here? Okay. Alcohol pad. And I have to say, like, people try to be supportive when it comes to IVF. But to be honest with you, like, Justin and I found a lot of people who tried to be supportive said completely all the wrong things, right? So, like, when IVF doesn't work the first time around, do you know how many people say, oh, you can always adopt? It's just not what you say to somebody. And that hurts. People, see, what I think people try to do is, like, because I'm injecting this hurts. I don't know why it's hurting so much more. Maybe it's because it's, like, the last one. I don't know. Sorry. Oh, shoot, that hurts. Ooh. That really hurt.
First thing, you've done all three in one, too.
What?
Could I put the Granulix in that, too?
Oh, so am I done, or
Oh, yeah. Now you have the trigger. So that was your one.
So basically, sorry, this actually hurts. People, like, that we told that it didn't work last time, like the way we were hoping, people just, instead of just saying, like, I am so sorry, that really sucks, people feel obligated to try to give you some sort of solution to something that they don't understand. And I get where people are coming from, but at the same time, it's like, it's infuriating, right? Like, I had a lot of friends like, oh, hey, like I said about, like, adopting. Like, oh, if it doesn't work, you can always adopt. It's like, first of all, unless you're a person who's actually, one, been adopted, two, have experience with adoption, or three, like, I guess that would go with number 2, experience. But like, unless you adopted yourself, don't throw it out there like one, it's a solution to an IVF problem, because adopting a baby or adopting a child is not in the same comparison as going through IVF. Of course, Justin and I have like talked about adoption and everything, but for me, to be honest, like right now, I don't want to adopt. Call me selfish, call me whatever. I don't want to adopt right now. I don't even have to explain why. I just don't want to. There's a lot of reasons, and it's just not something that I'll be honest, like that I want to venture down at this time. Not saying that I never would do it, just at this particular time, I don't want to do it. And I don't think it's selfish to go down the IVF route, because like we want our own like biological child, because most people have their own kid, you know, or they never even look into adopting or anything, you know, themselves. So I don't know if that even makes any sense, but I hate when people use like infertility as like, oh, well, why don't you just adopt or foster? It's like there's so much, it's more of a complicated situation than making that just like the solution, if that makes sense. Did that make sense?
Yeah. Because, I mean, the goal is to have our own kid, kind of thing.
That's like why we're doing IVF, is because we want to have like a child.
That is you and me.
Right. And I think like adoption's great, and I'm not knocking it, but there's like a whole different set of challenges and everything. And it's just like, it's just not, you can't like, it's just not something that makes sense. Like you don't say, oh, I'm sorry, IVF didn't work, but did you know that there's adoption? Like, no, like we know about adoption. I don't need someone to like remind me about a possible solution, which is not even a solution to IVF, but a solution to like growing your family, I suppose. But like, I don't need someone to remind me. Like, I already freaking know about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that to me is annoying. Don't say, oh, well, you know, you can always adopt. And it's like, you know, it's coming from like a good place, I suppose, because I don't think people like mean it in like in a hurtful way, but it is like, don't ever, like if someone's going through IVF, don't remind them about stuff that's obvious, right? It's just annoying. I had a lot of people tell me that, and it's like, I wasn't so nice after a while. The other one is like, especially people who aren't like spiritual to begin with, or like we're super religious, and then all of a sudden use like a religion as kind of like an excuse or a reason why something doesn't work. That's also really annoying. Like we have people like, oh, you know, maybe this is God's will. If this was God's will, we wouldn't even have kids or a potential to have kids in the first place.
Nice one.
It's annoying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you think?
No, I mean, people don't know our struggle, don't know our journey. It's we're not knocking adoption. I mean, it's a perfectly viable thing. We've talked about it before. And maybe we will one day. But we're trying to fight for something of our own.
Okay, that's it?
That's it.
That
was your trigger.
No, not even just adoption, but like people is like, what are those called? Like when somebody tries, like, is it affirmation? Is that the word? Like when people like tell you, oh, maybe it's like what the universe wants, or maybe this is like God's will,
being
or
fatalistic.
Yeah, and it's like, it's just, it's not helpful. If you're going through a situation, like I went through cancer, I've went through a bunch of, you know, stuff that was out of my control. And I know, like, as a society, we're taught a lot of times to, like, try to be helpful and give advice. But sometimes when it comes to situations like IVF, cancers, things that you have not personally walked in the shoes of that person, even though you're empathetic to their situation, or you're sympathetic to their situation, I should say. Like, you're sympathetic to their situation. Empathetic would mean, like, you've personally been through that journey yourself. It's okay just to say, you know what? I'm sorry. That sucks. I wish there was more I could tell you. I know you'll figure it out one step at a time, you know, and I'm here to talk and listen if you want to complain about it. That would be so much more, like, helpful, as opposed to giving somebody some, like, crap advice. Like, oh, maybe this is what the universe wants, or maybe this is God's will, or, you know, there's adoption and foster, you know? But this time around, like, with IVF, Justin and I have just kind of kept this more to ourselves.
Let's play it close to the chest or whatever.
And I think, like, my outlook with this time, it has been a little bit more, like, realism. Like, I'm not excited. I have really no expectations. I'm going into this with hopes that obviously it works, but I'm kind of, like, my confidence is pretty much shot, I have to say. I don't like have a good feeling about it. It's been super different.
It's been very different, this process.
It seems like it went faster. There's some things that we skipped.
3-4 days faster this time.
Yeah, what day is today?
Today would have been 7, 8.
Today's day 7 because I started a week ago, Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the original shots a week ago today, and then I'm already triggering.
Today's Sunday, so.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
8.
so this is day 8. So I'm already triggered. Day 8, which in my opinion is really fast. I've had some really big follicles. My biggest one is like what?
28.
28, which I'll tell you this right now, from my understanding and research and going through the first cycle of IVF, I was always under the impression that if it's over like a 22, it's not going to work. And then I have some that are like really small follicles this time. And I portal messaged our doctor earlier today, and I was like, last time my numbers were all like closer together. So I had 19 follicles, and they were all very, very, like, number-wise, they were all like close together. This time around, it's like this one's 28 and this one's a 4. I have no idea what to expect. My doctor said we'll probably have less
Than the last
eggs than the last cycle, but hopefully they're better quality, which doesn't even make sense because...
Well, I mean, I think he's trying to point out this quality, not quantity.
I get that, but our problem wasn't like just the eggs. The problem was the chromosomes inside the embryos were the problem. So it's like, I'm not saying I don't trust our doctor, but I feel like there's just so much more to IVF than like even what we know, and we've now done this twice. Yeah. So if I seem negative or not excited, well, maybe it's because I am. And I think that's totally reasonable, especially when I have done this last month and now I'm doing it again this month. Like I did this end of July, early August last time, and now we're at the end of August. And I've done 2 cycles back to back, and it's just, I don't know. I don't even know the word. It's like not frustrating. It's just, what would you say? Like live and let live, or?
I don't know, just the whole process kind of gets you down, and maybe frustrated is the right word.
Yeah. It's just tiring, and You know, last time I thought, oh, it'd be so cute. You know, me and Justin will post for a photo and be like, we just triggered, and like it was like all this like, you know, white girl stuff, right? Like I shouldn't say that. That's like sounds racist, but you know, like the oh yeah, oh, look at us, like we're so happy, we're gonna have a family. Like now it's like, you know, reading between the lines there. That's how I feel. Like today would be a great day if someone wanted to jump me. Let's go right now, because I'm ready to like take this to the ground. Like I just want to like maybe that's like, maybe I'm too aggressive, but like last time I just was like, you know, it's like your bright-eyed bushy tail and all excited. You're like, oh my god, I want to get a shirt that says like, knock me up, doctor. You know, it's like all this stupid stuff that you see on Pinterest. And then this time around, I'm just like, let's go. Like that's how I kind of feel.
Ready to be done?
Just, yeah, it's like not magical. Like last time, like was like, just like so full of hope, and you're just like, you know, you're pumped, you're psyched, you don't know what to expect. I know what to expect. It's not fun. Like surgery was awful. I just, you know, it's like those disappointing numbers, and it's like I guess I'm just like, I'm ready for
Just
being disappointed, I guess. I don't know. So I guess that's me being extremely negative,
I
and
think you should keep an air of hope too. You should keep thinking bad things are gonna happen. Only bad things will happen.
see, that right there, you guys, is what I'm talking about. What logic base is that? If you just think bad things will happen. I thought a lot of good things, and you know what? Bad stuff still happen. Maybe if I start doing the opposite, thinking bad things will happen, good things will happen, because every time I go in, like, positive mindset, things are going to work out, da-da-da, it's our time, like, it's got to be in the stars, it has to be in the numbers game. Bad stuff happens. But those positive affirmations drive me nuts right now. Poor Justin, I'm going to rip his head off. What?
This needy dog.
Yeah. Can you see our Penny right here? Rigby! And now my other dog is jumping on the other table. Alright, so I'm going to stop it here because I know I'm not being nice, and I just don't want to right now. Don't want to be nice. I actually just want to lay down. What did he just grab?
Your ice cream wrapper, I think.
The dog just grabbed an ice cream wrapper. That's just how things go in our life right now. But all right, we're crossing our fingers. Obviously, we do have like some hope that this will work. Otherwise, like, why would I have done this again? It's hard. This is not an easy journey. So it's not easy. It's not cheap.
No.
It's not fun. It's the worst thing I've ever been through. The mental games are just awful. So that's that. I will check in at some point. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.